So, you want to start an influencer marketing agency and earn a stable income from it, but you only have $10 to your name. Well, in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how you can start your own influencer marketing agency with absolutely zero budget. I'll be revealing proven strategies that have worked for multiple of my students and people I know starting out with little to no budget. Make sure not to miss the fifth step, which has been the most important in my own experience building my $385,000 per month influencer marketing agency at just the age of 23 years old, not having to rely on a 9-to-5 job whilst also traveling the world and meeting some very important people. I've also helped plenty of my students reach their dream lives and achieve results, such as Shane, who just finished high school and last month hit over £30,000 in closed deals, and Aryan, who did nearly £40,000 in profit just last month at the age of 20. So, I hope this video can bring you great value and hopefully inspire you to achieve your very own goals with IMA. So make sure you lock in, eliminate all distractions for the next 10 minutes or so, and also take notes to ensure that you don't miss anything. Let's get started. So firstly, I just want to go a little bit into the basics of what influencer marketing is and what an IMA is, for in case you've just discovered my channel, you live under a rock and you don't know what the business model is. So it's in short, influencer marketing is where a brand promotes their products and services via influencers, right? And this is super important in today's world because we live in an attention economy. Brands are constantly fighting for attention to capture the eyes of their customers to ultimately buy more products from them. And one of the best ways to do this in this day and age is partnering with influencers who have a trusted audience who love what they do, are entertained by them, and trust exactly what these influencers say. So how it works is a brand would pay an influencer to promote their products and services on their social media channels with the results of getting awareness, exposure, and ultimately driving sales. Now, what an influencer marketing agency is though, is we are the type of business that connects these brands and influencers. The problem that we have in the space is that so many influencers are so busy creating content, don't have a strong business acumen, that they don't actually have the time to go and find these brands to sponsor their videos. And in the meantime, influencer marketing is still relatively new. Whilst it's been around for over a decade now, it's still very, very new for the majority of brands and isn't mainstream. So many brands don't know how to do it. They don't know how to find the perfect influencers. They don't know how to match them up for their brands. They don't know how to structure deals. They just don't know actually how to physically do influencer marketing, which means that you as the agency come in with your expertise and you're that type of company that's able to connect this brand with their chosen influencer and put together a collaboration that ultimately results in benefits for the brand, the influencer, and their audience. Now, it's a super lucrative space to be in because, as I said, it hasn't hit the mainstream market yet. Still, not that many people are doing it. If you search up influencer marketing on YouTube, I'm the only one that comes up, minus a few videos by people like Gary Vee, and it's also still a super untapped market for brands. And so many brands still aren't using it as a marketing channel. It's set to grow over the next 5 years. Right now it's worth about $30 billion and it's going to be worth over $100 billion by probably the end of 2030. So right now is a super hot time for you as an agency to come in, build your expertise in the space and provide services to both brands and influencers and ultimately make both companies money. So what about actually starting up an influencer marketing agency? Because this video is all about how can you do it with as little money as possible, even if you have only $10 to your name. Now, I just want to go over some of the differences that you'll probably face with starting an influencer marketing agency with maybe $10 or up to actually having a budget to begin. Some of the benefits of having a budget to actually invest into beginning your influencer marketing agency is that you don't necessarily have to start it solo. You can start straight away with hiring someone to help you start the business, which obviously can help you grow a lot quicker. You can get some very, very useful software that actually will probably help you scale and start making money a lot faster. Things like a CRM, which tend to be relatively expensive to track all your leads and sales. Influencer marketing tools, which will make your life a huge amount easier. I actually am partnered with one influencer marketing tool called Modash, and if you are interested in learning more about that, you can check. I've got an affiliate link in the description. But if you're starting with no budget, you won't be able to afford these tools. But these tools are pretty important, and you won't be able to get some other tools like ones that can do mass cold email automation that will really help you scale your lead generation activities and find more brands. But other than that, that's really about it, right? And all these things are great to have, but I wouldn't say they're necessities, right? The only things that are necessities to start your influencer marketing agency are basically just getting a custom domain name and an email account. That is the only two things that you actually need to start and scale an influencer marketing agency, and you can do that all for less than $10. If you go to GoDaddy, Namecheap, any of these places, you can get a domain name for as little as 99 pence, and all you then need to do is go on G Suite and set up an email account, which will cost you $5. So actually, for less than $10, you can launch an influencer marketing agency, because what you just got to do is go on a free website builder, build yourself a very simple website. You have a website, you have some sort of branding for your business, free logo maker, set up the email address, and that's literally all you need. You have yourself a website, you have yourself a domain name, and you have yourself an email, and you can literally get started right away going and outreaching and finding brands and going outreaching and finding influencers, right? That's it. That's all you need, and that's enough. Even if you have nothing to your name, you can start right away today and still make money in the space, which is why it's such a beautiful industry, because it's such a low barrier to entry. Now, once you've started, once you've set up your email domain, once you've set up your website, it's important to actually then go ahead and pick a niche. A niche is super important within any business model, because actually your business is more valuable when it's focused down on one thing, and you can target your messaging and outreach to the relevant people, right? If you're going too broad and too wide and trying to target every single type of person, it's very, very difficult for you to actually attract the right type of customer, because you can't filter your messaging down to be very specific, right? For me, for example, I'm trying to target gaming brands, right? And for that, I have to market in a very specific way. I have to talk about upcoming game releases, trends, different jargon within that niche. And then if I'm just trying to target everyone, I can't do that. I can't be super specific to that gaming niche, because nobody else will get it, right? So it's very, very important to choose and think of a niche. And when starting with little budget, I always recommend looking at two things when choosing your niche. Firstly, is there anything that you're already previously experienced in, right? Have you previously had a job in a certain industry? Do you have any contacts in a certain industry? If you have experience and knowledge in a pre-existing industry, it makes sense to go down on that niche, because you already have a little bit of an understanding and you can get started quicker. Secondly, I always say to look at what you have an interest in, because if you're generally working in a niche that you're interested in, then you're just going to have more motivation and discipline to actually go out there and start and make more money. So for me, for example, I had previously worked in gaming all my life. I also love gaming, so it made a huge amount of sense to go down the gaming niche, right? But you might have previously worked in like a fashion company, or really be interested in style and clothes. You follow influencers already in that space, and that makes sense to go down that niche, because you have a bit of experience and you're already interested in it. It's as simple as that. And you don't have any budget right now to start like investing and looking at kind of upcoming trends and data and stuff. You don't have that luxury. So start with something that fits you. Okay, so now you've got everything set up, you've got your website, you've chosen your niche. The next thing you want to start doing is building your network and relationships. And to do so, you should start offering to work for free at the beginning. A lot of culture in the modern day suggests know your worth, know your value, don't work for free, people should be exploiting you. But I highly disagree. And for a long period of time, I worked for free. I worked for very little. From the age of 13 to 16, I volunteered at a number of jobs. I ran a business where I wasn't making any money, and I worked for free. I did things for free or on very low amounts of money and commission, simply to build up my experience and my portfolio, which has now paid dividends long term. And I think it's super important, because you haven't at this point earned the right to make money, right? You've just entered the space. You don't have any knowledge. You don't know you can actually deliver your clients results yet. So in that regard, you should work for free, because you're going to learn very, very quickly what is right, what is wrong. You might mess up a lot of the times. And in this case, you're de-risking it for the client and you're de-risking it for yourself. And then you're also building up that really good portfolio that's going to then pay you in the long term, right? You need to have a very long-term mindset here. You don't want to be thinking short term of, I want to get paid right away. You need to be thinking, if I work for free, it's going to be easier to land clients, and then I'm going to make a lot of money in the long term, right? If you're going to a client and they ask you for case studies, you ask you for experience, and you're asking for money, they're probably going to turn you away, because they have no like legitimacy and validity as to whether you can actually do what you're saying. Whereas if you can sell them just on a free offer of, I'm not going to charge you any fee, I'm not going to charge you any margin, we're going to make nothing out of this, we're just going to prove our value, prove our worth, it's much easier to get the sale. Then what you can do is you can get these case studies from working with these brands. You've worked with brand number one for free, you have a good case study, and that means when you want to go and sell for money, you have a good sort of track record, portfolio, and case studies to show future brands, this is what we did for brand A, this is why you should pay us X amount. We can replicate these same results. And that's much, much more beneficial because you're going to get more clients in the long term and ultimately get paid more. Okay, so the next step really is to leverage that portfolio that you've built and start pitching and offering your services to brands and start making money. So as part of this and actually how to start delivering the service and actually start pitching to brands is you need to do a few things. You need to find influencers, you need to find the brands, and you need to reach out to both. So to find influencers, very, very simply, you simply just have to use the social platforms. Obviously, if you're starting with less than $10, very little budget, you can't necessarily go ahead and buy an influencer platform like Modash that I mentioned. So you have to use the tools at your disposal, which are ultimately the social media platforms. But this is fine. This is pretty much to this day, we still use just manual search on social media platforms nonstop. Some of my team purely use that for some of their campaigns because it just works a lot better. So what you want to do is you want to go on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram and basically search for keywords and hashtags that are relevant to your niche, right? So if you're working in the fitness niche, you might want to look at keywords like bodybuilder or TikTok fitness or creatine or daily workout routine or leg day, different keywords that are related to your niche. Because that's what's going to show up influencers that are actively posting content about that. And those are the influencers that you want, okay? Because you're going to then be going to brands soon that are looking to spend with influencers in this niche, right? They may be a fitness brand in this scenario, and they're looking to promote their products and services via those influencers. So you need to find those influencers talking about the similar things. So literally go on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, use the search field because the search is actually super powerful directly and it's going to show you recommended profiles that are talking about these things. And then all you need to do is click these profiles, click the little drop down arrows that usually show up, and then it's going to show you a bunch of similarly related profiles. And then you're going to have a huge number of influencers that you can find right away. Super simple in that way. I've got a number of videos about this on the channel already, about how to find the perfect influencers for the campaign. So if you want a really deep dive on that, go to my channel, find those videos, and then take a watch. Okay, so separate to that, you also need to find brands. And the main two ways that we do to find this are both, again, free, and you don't need any budget to do this, is one, go through content creators. So these influencers that you found, go through their profiles and find out which brands are already sponsoring these creators, right? So go to their profiles and say, okay, Gymshark is sponsoring this fitness creator, or My Protein sponsored this fitness creator, or on YouTube, I looked at this creator and they've had 6 different sponsors across 12 videos. Note down all these brands because these are your leads. These are the brands you want to be selling to because they're already interested in influencer marketing. If they're already sponsoring influencers and they're already looking to buy influencers, it means they probably want more. And that's where you can come in and you can help them find new influencers that they wouldn't be able to find already. Another way is simply just using LinkedIn. All you need to do is a very, very similar thing to like finding influencers. Go to the search bar, look for keywords, click the companies tab, and then look for some companies that are related to these keywords. So if you type in fitness, for example, you'll find fitness companies in there. And these are obviously the brands you want to be reaching out to. Okay, you found your brands, you found your influencers. How do we actually go about reaching out to them? Influencers, it's very, very simple. On most influencer profiles, they will have a business email listed there. All you have to do is you go and email them there. Now, if you want a more detailed approach of actually how to go and email the influencers, again, I have much more in-depth videos on the channel which show you exact copy that you can use to go and email the creators. So I would suggest going on my channel, checking those videos. They are fully in-depth. They have exact copy, screenshots, absolutely everything that we use to reach out to the influencers. But all you need to do is really go to their profiles, find their business emails, and email them there. And if you don't have a business email, then you just have to DM them on Instagram or Twitter or TikTok. And again, I have videos that go in depth on how to do this. For brands, exactly the same. I have other in-depth videos on this, but very, very simply, when you find those brands on LinkedIn, all you need to do is click on the company on LinkedIn. So let's say Gymshark is an example. You click Gymshark, you go to the people section of Gymshark, you click people, there's a little search bar that will come up, and you can then search based on the role. So what you want to do is you want to type in influencer marketing in here, or just marketing or social media marketing, and this will pull out every single person in the company that does marketing at Gymshark or influencer marketing at Gymshark. And all you need to do is click connect with them and send them a message and look to see if you can send them over some influencers that could be a good fit for their campaigns. I would also suggest using LinkedIn, but you can also do cold email. And all you need to do really in this scenario is download a little Chrome extension called Apollo.io. And when you're on the LinkedIn profile, it will pop up on the side. You click it, it will show you their email, and then you can go and cold email them the exact same way that you would cold message them on LinkedIn. My suggestion is to email them or LinkedIn message them, and then you should follow up at least 4 to 7 times across both platforms, because most of the time the money is made in the follow-up. A lot of time these marketing managers at really big companies are super busy dealing with a ton of things, and they generally might just miss your first email. So until you followed up at least 4 to 7 times, never discount that lead as being dead. Now, once you get in touch with these marketing managers, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and pitch them content creators that you've got. So you've reached out to the influencers, you want to pitch them the creators for a partnership, and then you want to go ahead and negotiate with the brand of the influencer and find a rate and maintain your margin. So if the influencer is asking for $2,000 for a certain post, you might want to try and negotiate the brand to $3,000 so that you can then pay the influencer $2,000 and keep your cut of $1,000. But to actually go ahead and service the deal, basically the service fulfillment in this space is basically just managing the process between the brand and the influencer. You are the middleman handling the communications. You're taking the stress off the brand from having to deal with all of these influencers by managing the communication of the influencers and being that trusted partner for the brand who will actually go ahead and get the influencer to create the content, get it approved, and ultimately go live. So your job stems down from the start, where you will get the influencer brief from the brand. The brand will provide you a briefing which will show you exactly what the influencer needs to say, what content they need to produce, what formats, all that information, and you would pass it over to the influencer. Make sure the influencer understands it. If they have any questions, you clarify, help them get accustomed to it, and then that means that they can go ahead and start creating the content. Your job then is to ensure that the influencer's living up to expectations and the deadlines. If you have deadlines with a brand for when the content should be going live, you should be chasing, following up with the influencer, making sure they create the content and they send you it for approval. You would get the content drafts from the creators, you would check the content, and you'd make sure it fits the brand's brief. If it doesn't, you'd go back to the creator, make sure they change it and amend it, and once they've done that, you take it to the brand and have the brand approve that content. Once it's approved, very simply, you go ahead and get the influencer to get the content live. So most of your job here in the service fulfillment is just transfer of information between both parties and managing it for both of them so that the brand doesn't have all the stress and hassle of dealing with the content creators who often aren't really business savvy people or good communicators. They're good at just making content. So you're providing the brand a really good service here because they are not having to deal with that stress. They're almost delegating off that very tedious part of the process, and you are giving them that really good service. Once the content is live though, that's pretty much your service fulfillment done. You just have to then go ahead and check and verify the content is correct, the creators put the correct links, the correct hashtags, the correct ad compliance, tag the brand correctly, and that is the service complete. And then you can go ahead and invoice the brand and get that brand to pay you, pay out the influencer their cut, you keep your cut, and that's the service fulfillment process done. And once you've done that, you have the money to go ahead and start investing into your business and buying these tools that I mentioned at the beginning to essentially keep progressing and get into a really good loop that will allow you to get more influencers, get more brands, negotiate more deals, fulfill more services, get paid more, and the domino effect begins from there, right? So once you have your first few paid deals where you make a margin, it's relatively easy to continue on because you have money there that will allow you to invest, right? You also have completed deals that will allow you to get some case studies to win more clients. You've got money in the bank now. You can actually have more resources to go and scale your outreach, to go and scale your influencer discovery. And then you also have some good case studies to go and show to future brands that I executed this deal with this brand and this influencer. It went really well. Here are the results. Let me do the same for you, right? Very simple, and it allows you to actually have a much easier journey to new client acquisition. But the thing that you should be doing at this point is once you get a client who's paid you, who's actually allowed you to execute a deal, you've been able to negotiate with and actually get some content live, is you should be focusing on client retention, right? You should be spending a lot of time focusing on creating a relationship with these clients and focusing on providing more value and coming up with consistent ideas that can actually help them in their workflow and help them achieve their goals within the company, right? What you should be doing on a regular basis is pitching them new content creators and new opportunities, because it's easier to sell more content creators to an existing brand that you're already in contact with than finding a new client, right? Because you already have the contact of this client. You already know they're interested in creators. You already understand how much they're willing to pay. And the process in general will just be a lot quicker than having to go and find a new brand that is potentially cold, doesn't know you, doesn't trust you yet, and doesn't have any sort of like history of buying from you, right? So focus on client retention. It's definitely the number one thing to actually scale and build your agency, and it just allows you to kind of create relationships, provide more value, and extract more value out of existing businesses that ultimately will pay you lots of money over the years of working with them, as opposed to having a number of one and done deals, right? You never want to just do one deal with a brand and then think, okay, done, and then go move on to a brand. It's perfect because as soon as you have a brand and you're in contact with them and you do one deal, it just opens the floodgates to you being able to pitch more content creators and negotiate more deals and deliver more deals. Ultimately then making more money, you can then go and invest into the business to scale up your growth. And that's it. That are the 6 key steps to getting started with your influencer marketing agency with less than $10 of budget. Now that you've watched this far, you're clearly interested or at least curious on how to start your own influencer marketing agency and achieve financial freedom with it. And the IMA business model has been proven to be one of the best business models to start in 2024, not only in my own experience, but also dozens of my students' experiences as well. Like Mark, who's a veteran businessman from Australia who manages 5 of the biggest influencers in the world, including an Olympian, and he's had some weeks where he has closed $70,000 worth of deals. Or Sevi, who quit his 9-to-5 and began documenting his IMA journey on Instagram. Since starting around 10 months ago, he's generated over $300,000 with IMA and works with huge brands like Amazon and Listerine. Or even just on a smaller scale like Rayan, who began a challenge to hit $10,000 with his IMA, and in just 52 days, he has $15,000 hit his bank account. So if you're determined to take this opportunity seriously, take action, and you'd like me to guide you on your path to success with IMA, all you need to do is check that first link in the description and join my Telegram community, and feel free to reach out and message me there so you can start your journey with us today. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and also just leave a comment and let me know what sort of videos that you want to see coming up on my channel that are going to provide you guys with the most value in your IMA journey.